right now. Hey, Allan, you deserve a tall glass of shut-up juice, so can you just shut up for a second and let someone who knows what they're doing know right here?
I totally disagree with Juan and Professor Lichtman. Don't blame the voters. I think, look, we could get into this discussion, but Juan, I think you're blaming the voters. I think that's a terrible idea.
You're entitled to think that blaming the voters is a bad idea, but you should probably clarify why exactly it's a bad idea. Do you think voters shouldn't be held accountable? There's no standard for voters can do whatever they want to do, and there's never a point where it's kind of like, voters, you know, you guys made some mistakes here. Is that what it's about? Participation trophy? You participated, so you voted. So it's impossible for me to vote badly, right? I mean, let's say, for example, if someone were to come up with a political cartoon magazine, right, and I would watch no news, I only read this political cartoon magazine, and then I go and I vote based on what I see in that magazine. Don't call me a moron, right? Don't say I'm an idiot. Don't have a problem with me voting based on a magazine, right? Because there's no standards for voters. Can be as unhinged, as stupid, as just ridiculous. They can be as dumb as they want to be, as irresponsible as they want to be. We're never allowed to criticize the voters, right? They're above it. They're above criticism. Nobody's above criticism. We can criticize the voters, the politicians, the media. We can criticize everybody. This is the United States of motherfucking America. We have the freedom of speech to say what we want to do, say our opinions, and we can criticize whoever the hell we fucking want to, Mr. Cenk. So if somebody wants to criticize the voters, you go right ahead. Now, depending on who you are, there might be consequences depending on what your criticisms are. And you'll just have to deal with those consequences. Maybe as a member of the Democratic Party, maybe you can go too harshly against your base and cost you elections, right? But that's freedom, right? You're free to criticize whoever you want. No problems there. Call your voters stupid, uninformed, whatever. Go nuts, right? But your voters also have a freedom to punish you based on what you say, right? But the idea that, how dare you criticize the voters, says who made that rule? Who made the rule that says we can't criticize voters, right? Tell me, give me a name, right? So I can tell them to their face that that's motherfucking bullshit. I'm gonna criticize whoever the hell I motherfucking want to. How about that, Cenk?
And look, I debated Professor Lichtman before. I told him his theories about the keys were absurd. I was right, he was wrong. I said he'd lose his keys.
No, you were not right, and I was not wrong, and that's a cheap shot, and I won't stand for it.
Now, Cenk is absolutely unhinged in this video, and he's absolutely wrong. But, Mr. Lichtman, you were not right. You were wrong. Right? You thought Kamala would win. She lost. That makes you wrong. But two things can be true. I believe that Cenk was wrong as well. I saw the debate, and Cenk was wrong. The fact that you just happened to be wrong also, in terms of your prediction this time, that doesn't change that fact. For example, let's say I have this belief that crossing the road blindfolded is dangerous. And if you do that, you're gonna die. Somebody disagrees with me. They said, no, it's fine. People are gonna see you. They're gonna go around, right? If the person crosses the street blindfolded and they don't die, that means that my prediction that if you cross the street blindfolded, you're gonna die was wrong. I was wrong. You did it and you survived. But that doesn't mean that the person who said that it's fine was right. They just got lucky. This time they survived. My points were valid, but my prediction was wrong. The person who disagreed with me, they were absolutely wrong, but they happened to get lucky this time, right?
You should not be taking cheap shots at me.
Who won? You live in a total world of denial.
I read your own followers' comments, and they all trashed you, every one of them, and supported me.
Yeah,
so
right,
with
right.
Your personal attacks.
Come find out again.
Make whatever point you want. Don't make it personal.
You don't know anything. You don't know anything.
You attacked me personally.
You're so deluded.
Right. I've only been a professor for 51 years.
On this program, I've never been able to finish a thought.
How many books have you published? No, because you're personally attacking me again. Say whatever you want, but I'm not going to stand for
brother, you got it wrong.
Say
you were
whatever you want.
preposterously and stupidly wrong. So, okay, all right. Can I just finish
Don't call me
stupid
stupid
ever on this show?
No, not if you're personally.
Well,
I admitted I was wrong. I don't need you to call me stupid.
Okay.
I'll just say it's great to see you Democrats still getting right now.
Hey, Allan, you deserve a tall glass of shut-up juice, so can you just shut up for a second and let someone who knows what they're doing know right here.
You're so right.
So, I will not sit here and stand for personal attacks, for blasphemy against me. You don't need to do that. You don't
blasphemy against you. Where are you? Are you Jesus Christ, you loser? Okay, can
make your point.
I love it when people try to mention that they've published books as something that makes them more credible or knowledgeable. Charlie Kirk literally did this today. I was watching a video and he was like, how many books have you published? You know how many morons are out there that have books published? I mean, the fact that your book is published doesn't say anything about the quality of the book, right? There are awful books, right? There's really good books. There's books all like saying, oh, I have books published. Like, what? That doesn't mean anything. Right? That's not I mean, if you want to say best-selling, but even best-selling, I mean, you have these YouTubers with large platforms. They put a book out and they're like, hey, followers, go like my book. So even that doesn't mean anything. But anyway, most of this most of my criticisms have to go to Mr. Cenk. What a child. What an Allan Lichtman has been accurately predicting elections for a long time. He's claiming 10 out of 10. Even if you take that one away from him, it's 9 out of 10. I think that's a way better record than Cenk has. So it's absolutely unhinged and dishonest for Cenk to act as if this guy is a moron, he's delusional, he has no idea what he's talking about, because he got one prediction wrong after a long time record. I mean, if we hold Cenk to that same standard, what would happen? Cenk gets one thing wrong, and then we go, oh, you're delusional, cuckoo, you're cuckoo, oh, you're nuts, oh, take a big glass of shut up juice. And why is Allan Lichtman not allowing Cenk to talk? Because Cenk is showing him no respect, and, you know, it'd be one thing if Allan Lichtman was a big part of the problem. He's been pushing bad policies, or he's a corrupt guy, or, you know, something like that. Something to give a reason for this level of fury. You this mad because a guy got one election prediction wrong who's gotten it right for so long? I mean, that's insane. It takes away from Cenk's credibility, because he likes to get very animated like this and attacking people. And it's kind of like, wait a minute. If you would go after Allan Lichtman because he just got one prediction wrong after his long track record, then all those other times when you're acting all, and you, I mean, are those credible attacks as well? Or are you just an unhinged guy that reminds me of that guy, who's that Israel Defender guy who's just an absolute lunatic, who always gets on the show and he just starts screaming and like. And one more thing about Allan Lichtman. He says that disinformation was an issue. And then he's asked, like, what was disinformation? And then he acts just like Cenk. Cenk talked about Trump as a fascist. He goes on trigonometry show, and they ask him, like, what are you afraid of? And he's dancing around talking about some corruption, blah, blah, blah. They have to keep pushing him and pushing him and pushing him. Like, bro, you've been on your show. He's a fascist, blah, 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 blah. And now you have a chance to, like, articulate your point to another audience. And all of a sudden you're like, well, Allan Lichtman, you gonna get on the show and you're gonna point out validly that there's a big problem with misinformation, because, you know, there's a reality and then there's the false, you know, sort of reality that's painted in from these propagandists. And then people are voting based on not reality, but based on the rhetoric that's being fed to them. That's a big problem, right? But you can't say just a bold statement. And when you're asked, like, what's the misinformation? It's kind of like, first of all, his instant response was not giving a misinformation example. He just starts rambling about something else. And then I think he starts talking about one, but it ended up being weak. He talked about inflation, and it wasn't a very strong, definitive statement. Like, if I wasn't aware of the misinformation issue, listening to Allan Lichtman right now wouldn't be like, oh, I didn't know that. The reality is that the economy is actually doing really well right now. That is a fact. We've had the best recovery, I think, globally from the pandemic, and just about every metric in terms of the economy, it's great. And the thing about it is, two things can be true. Hitler can be a guy who killed a bunch of people, and he could also be a kid who maybe was just a normal kid, right? But people act as if, like, Hitler is just a one-dimensional thing. All he did is ever kill people. That's not true. So same thing here. You can have an economy that's factually doing really, really well, and then you can have that one factor that's really bad about the economy, and it's not inflation, right? It's the actual current, you know, cost of goods. I mean, inflation is basically, you're looking at rising prices, right? That already happened. The prices already rose, right? Unfortunately, incomes didn't rise fast enough to compensate for those rises in the price. So now at this point, inflation is at a really good point right now. It's actually close to ideal. But again, two things can be true. So even though inflation's at an ideal rate right now, that does not change the fact that the prices of things are at a very high price currently. The fact that they're not continuing to rise at an aggressive rate, so the rise of prices right now is at a good rate. The fact that that is true does not take away from the fact that, people are spending a lot of money on groceries. They spend a lot of money on rent. They spend a lot of money on mortgage. Like, that's true. People are struggling right now. But that is but one aspect. The economy, it consists of many, many factors, and most of the factors is doing really well. So the misinformation is the idea that our economy is doing horribly right now, and the reason why things are expensive is because of the liberal policies. That is all bullshit, right? So Allan Lichtman could have brought that up, but instead he just kind of, in all fairness, I don't think this is his forte. I don't think he's really like a media personality type of guy. So I think he's out of his element. His thing is predicting elections. He's really good at it. He's been really good at it. And it's absolutely dishonest and unhinged to act as if the guy is a complete moron because he got one election wrong. And Anna, I think, has been part of this as well. Just unhinged. The Young Turk unhinged. I don't know what their future is going to hold. I mean, I guess a lot of money, because if they keep leaning to the right, that's where the money's at. So I guess they know what they're doing, which is running a business. And running a business is all about profits. And the profits are right-wing narratives. So I guess that's what it's about. Anyway, comment below, let me know your thoughts. Do you think that CENK was unhinged in this video? This is the Debate Me channel. Debate me in the comment section below. Click on the like button, subscribe, smash that bell. Be well.